So this cap was made for about $150 Canadian. It's not perfect, but it does the job. So first, the why. So this Nissan Titan is a 7.25 inch bed. That's the length. And being here in Canada, it is very, very difficult to find a cap that fits a 7.25 inch bed. So we were on a trip and we needed to double the amount of space that we had because I had a tonneau cover on. So in order to double that, and I couldn't find a cap, so the only thing that made sense was to put something together for quick and cheap. Now, a disclaimer: I am not a carpenter. I actually have very little experience. Probably, I'm probably more of a beginner than anyone else. So yeah, let me walk you through how I put this together. Like I said, for pretty cheap. Okay, so let me show you inside before we talk about how much or how I built this. Okay, so this is a look inside. And let me just walk through all the components. So I have 5 clamps, 5-inch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you look, 5-inch clamps. And the purpose of these is to hold this down to the body of the bed. Okay, and also for extra safety. So what I did is, you can see I tied this down, made a couple holes. So one there, 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 and there. So essentially I made holes in the 2x4s, and then I was able to use these ratchet straps. And these are 1,000 pound ratchet straps. So I was able to put those down. And if you see how I did this, I went across. So across that way, across this way, across that way. And essentially what that does is if one of these clamps for some reason, gives out, or if this thing decides to move, there's counter force that way. And on this side, so it really hasn't gone anywhere. I've driven about, this thing is solid on. I've driven about 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers, so a couple thousand miles, 2,500 miles, and this hasn't moved an inch. So yeah, that's I think it was a pretty easy way to ensure that this thing doesn't move. So I think the most important thing is to look at the angle, because this cab, or any cab on a pickup truck, is not straight, it's sloped. And what I think probably, the most important part for me was to make sure that the angle there was pretty close to the angle of the cab there, so you can see that. And also the other thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to cover that light, so I sort of only went up, a little bit, a couple inches under the light. So the pretty simple way I did this is I cut a 2x4 at 10 degrees, and then I held it against this to see how the angle was. So that turned out to be not steep enough. So then I went back, made a cut at 15, held it against this, and then made a cut at 20, and then 20 seemed to be pretty close. So as you could see, so then I stuck with the 20, and that's how all the, I guess, the corners, all the 2x4s or 2x4s on the outside, that's how they were cut into those angles. And then to secure the door, it's a couple of these on either side, and then just some, I think those are called door hinges, I think, or some type of door hinge. So just 3 of those, and really it's just plywood on the outside of a shell that's made of 2x4. You can see the shell here of 2x4s, and you see I ran short one, so I had to find one from somewhere. But that's the shell, and everything was just basically screwed on top of the shell, just the plywood. And then this thing was stained on the outside, and then you see there's some caulking there so then water doesn't go in, and it's been pretty good. No real issues, like I said, in terms of stability, no problems whatsoever. You see the didn't really do the bottom 2x4 there, but eh. Also, the good thing about this is that you could take this off. So it's, like I said, it's 4 straps, ratchet straps, and 5 clamps, and I think in less than a minute you can have all those undone, and then, you know, with somebody's help you can lift this off and put it away, and, you know, if you don't need it, you don't need it. So that is why I like this design. The last thing is on the length. So I purposely went the length here, so this piece, the back door, actually falls in to the door right here. So you can see that it is under, so I wouldn't be able to open this. I wouldn't be able to open this door right here unless I swung this open. So I would say if you have no experience with woodworking, or, you know, really building stuff, I'd say this is on a scale of 1 to 10. This is probably like a 2. You can do it really easily. Yeah, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of mine was just, you know, it wasn't like a professional thing. It was just a cut, hold it up against the, you know, against the truck, and see how it looks. And then, you know, from there on, it's just repeat. They're held in by screws. So if you can't find a cap for your truck and you need to make extra space, or you need to double the amount of space, I would say that this is something that you can do. The last point I want to make here is that this is obviously done for transporting cargo, but if you wanted to, you could build this a little bit higher, and turn this into a camper pretty easily by putting a bed and a couple of shelves here, and turning it into a camper. And also a perfect spot to put some RV windows, so there's a lot of space for windows, a fan, wherever else you wanted above, do some electrical in here, all probably very easy. Or put solar or anything else like that. So there's a lot of potential with this type of simple build. So if you wanted to enhance this in any way, would be pretty easy.